Okay, so it's been a while since Destruction was released on the test realms, and I must admit I had the basic outline for my original video done, and then the beta came out, so I wanted to delay it a little bit, just to, see if anything changed, then real life stuff going away, etc, etc. But with that being said, it's okay that this guide comes out a little bit later, as a few things have been tweaked and changed since the beta launched, and now I can talk about those as well. So yeah, I also just wanted to mention that my Affliction and Demonology alpha guides are a bit outdated now, with many changes that have happened over the last few builds. So I'm probably going to release an update video sometime in the near future, just to mention those changes. I'm also going to be uploading some other WoW related videos over the next few weeks, such as things to do before Legion and my top 5s. So just make sure you subscribe if you're interested in those types of things. So yeah, without further ado, here's my overall feedback for the Legion iteration of the Destruction Warlock. Now, as someone who loves the revamp of Demonology, but thinks the revamp of Affliction is painfully dull and boring, I'm actually very pleased with the Destruction currently on the test realms. And although I'd like a few minor tweaks here and there, it actually feels pretty complete to me. So okay, first things first, let's just mention the shit that's been removed or changed. First, Backdraft, Shadowburn, Fire and Brimstone, and now all talents. Fuck. Off to a great start. So yeah, I'll talk about those in a second. Burning Embers are now also gone and have been replaced with the generic Soul Shard system. I mean, okay, I can kind of see why they did it for homogenization between the 3 Warlock specs, but in terms of making distro feel unique, I don't know, it sucks a bit. I mean, they've even removed like the fire effect from your character as you build up resources, the Destruction's had. And I'm just hoping, there'll be a glyph or something to add this effect back, because that's really cool, but I'm not really holding my breath, to be honest. Alright, so, well, how does the shard system work then compared to the others? Well, you build up shards with Immolate and Conflagrate. Conflagrate, still 2 charges, the 12-second cooldown, and the cooldown's now reduced by haste, which is cool. It's also guaranteed to generate a shard. Immolate has a 15% chance to generate a shard per tick, with that chance being increased to 30% if it crits. And you can spend shards on Chaos Bolt, which costs 2, and Rain of Fire, which costs 3. Now, although it may seem a bit costly, compared to the Ember cost of, similar spells, it's actually fine when you play it, don't worry. Yeah. But Chaos Bolt has a 3-second cast time now from 2.5, which feels a bit lengthy without certain talents which reduce cast time. But I mean, this could actually be the intention, because hopefully it'll hit like a truck once it's tuned properly, which will make it worth it. But at the moment it feels a little bit undertuned. Rain of Fire has actually also been changed to how it works on live. It's now a 2-second cast, leading to an 8-second passive AoE. That's how that works. I'm gonna miss how you can use Rain of Fire to pull trash on solo player, but I guess it's not such a big deal. Yeah. Although having a cast time of Rain of Fire and having a higher cost than Chaos Bolt, it does seem a bit strange at first. It kind of does make sense, because I'm hoping Rain of Fire will also kind of hit like a truck, on AoE situations. Maybe if it just had a shorter duration, such as 6 seconds, it might pack a bit more of a punch as well. So, who knows what'll change. Anyway, let's move on to some other spells. Incinerate felt a bit strange to me at first, as it's nothing but a filler until you get a certain trait with your artifact. I'll talk about that later, but just so you know, it's mainly just a filler now, nothing else to it. Havoc has been redesigned slightly. It's now just an 8-second thing instead of working off a charge system. I really didn't like this at first, as the change removes a lot of the skill aspects of Havoc, in which that you could precast it before an ad spawns to effectively get 2 Havocs off in the same amount of time. But this new design, it really does emphasize the cleave aspect of Destruction, which is cool. And after playing with it a lot, I must admit it does in fact work, and I do like this change. It just has great cleave potential, especially with a talent I'll talk about later. Just also need to mention Life Tap here. Now, Destruction's chaotic energy mana regen has been removed completely, from baseline. There is a certain aspect of it that exists as a talent, but if you don't choose that talent, just be aware you need to use life tap again. Dark Soul, like the specs, has also been removed, so yay for lower skill caps. There is actually kind of a compensation though, which is only a recent change that's come about in the talent tree, which again I'll talk about later. Last thing to mention probably is the mastery. Now, it's now an RNG aspect, which can deal random extra damage and also reduce random damage taken. And although I can see why others are concerned with the randomness of this mastery, especially on priority ads, I really don't think it's going to be a big problem. Not as much as people are making it out to be anyway. Personally, well, I just want to say that I think this mastery is at least more interesting than our current mastery on live, which is just a boring percentage damage increase. I just think it's more exciting to see a random 60% damage increase on Chaos Ball, sometimes, rather than never ever noticing a static damage increase. With regards to what people are saying about Destruction's reliability as a nuke spec on priority targets, I mean, hopefully Chaos Ball is still going to hit like a fucking truck. So, I mean, hopefully it'll still be one of the hardest hitting spells in the game. I just don't really think it's going to be a problem for those situations. I think probably a better way to look at it is like Terragosa's Rest, the legendary staff. Our spells are already fine without the staff, but with the staff, there's just an extra chance of damage. I mean, yeah, it does create an extra RNG aspect, sure, but is it going to be a problem? I don't think so. Of all the RNG things in the spec, I think this is the least worrying one at the moment. Alright, so let's just get on to talents. Now, obviously, let's just start at the beginning. Tier 1, Backdraft. I wish Backdraft was still baseline, as it has been, since forever. It just feels like it's been shoehorned into a talent because the devs couldn't think of a decent talent to go here. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually like this change of the spell. It's a duration instead of stacks now, so you just need to think more about it, when to use Configurate, and you're going to get the full 5 seconds of the Backdraft. So, it's a nice change, but was it really necessary to turn it into a baseline passive? I mean, no, let me say that again. Was it really necessary to turn it from a baseline passive into this talent? Yeah, I mean, I just love some extra new shit on top of Archer rather than, kind of attitude of, oh, fuck it, we'll just put this as a talent. Meh, that's just my opinion of that. Yeah, so, okay, there's another weird talent here. Roaring Blaze is just a bit of a weird one to me, anyway. I mean, I think it's supposed to be for cleave, maybe, but I don't know, Backdraft cleave on 2 target with Havoc, double, Chaos Ball just seems like better. Yeah, I mean, I know damage isn't final and maybe it'll change, but in terms of playstyle, I just can't really see why I'd use it over Backdraft, which it just feels like a generally smoother talent. I mean, the way I assume it's supposed to work is that you Havoc, cast Immolate, then cast Conflagrate twice. Then, wait till Immolate falls off to get the full benefit of the talent before refreshing the Immolate, waiting for 2 stacks of Conflagrate, and then just do it all over again. I mean, it just feels a bit weird to be, I mean, yeah, it changes the playstyle a little bit, I don't know, it just feels a bit weird. There's even an artifact trait as well, which works against it if, you don't have enough haste to reduce the cooldown of Conflagrate below 10 seconds. Because, the trait urges you to use Conflagrate again within a 20-second period, so, I don't know, it just feels bizarre. I generally don't like to touch on PvP stuff either, but it's also worth mentioning that 2 of the PvP talents actually, render Roaring Blaze useless, so that's something else as well. Yeah, it's just, anyway, yeah, next is Shadowburn, the next baseline spell made into this one. It costs 1 shard, generates 2 shards and attack dies in 5 seconds. It's great for trash and leveling, and that's about it. Yeah. Am I annoyed that this baseline spell is now a talent? Fuck yeah, I am. I mean, Shadowburn, it just added a higher skill ceiling for the Destruction playstyle on adfights. And now it's just a basic instant nuke for trash, PvP, whatever. Yeah, it's Rip Shadowburn. I mean, they could at least update the shitty visuals of the spell, which they have. Alright, so tier 2. Reverse entropy is nice. They reduced the cast time of Case Ball and the mana refund, which kind of plays into what's about the chaotic energies being removed. So this kind of quickens the play style and removes the need to life tap, which is a nice style play. Cataclysm still remains here and is still a nice bursty AoE. It's still a 1 minute cooldown though, which really puzzles me at the moment. I mean, okay, it's fine for live where it kind of fits, but given the usefulness of reverse entropy, you know, which I don't want to jump too far ahead either, but also Fire and Brimstone only works with Incinerate now. So yeah, having Cataclysm as our only way to AoE immolate on a 1 minute cooldown with a 3-second cast just seems a little shit. I mean, the cooldown should be much lower, in my opinion, to begin with. And I also think Fire and Brimstone should maybe change slightly. But I must admit, I found the benefits of reverse entropy to just completely outweigh the usefulness of Cataclysm. So, I mean, this talent is just a bit in limbo for me at the moment. There was actually a recent Blizzard post you know, alluding to maybe making some talents closer in usefulness. So maybe this is one of those. We'll see. Mana tap. Fuck off. That's all I've got to say about this shit talent. Right, so tier 3, I'm just going to skim over this mainly. The talent Demon Skin is actually new from when I did my last guide. Soul Leech, which was here, is now baseline, and this spell regenerates Soul Leech passively up to 20% of your health, which is fucking awesome by the way. I mean, so much tankiness comes from this and makes us actually almost immortal in the outside world, which is, you know, cool. Not much to say about Mortal Coil, it's the same as live, still sucks. Shadow Fury still has a cast time, because some of the Blizzard's fucking retarded, but yeah, whatever, let's move on. Tier 4, Eradication, it's cool. I actually love the playstyle this introduces when you can, we can weave other spells in between multiple Curse Bolts, so they all benefit from the Eradication window, if you like, and yeah, it just adds a aspect of skill to the playstyle, which is nice. I mean, a good player will be able to cast maybe 1 or 2 spells in between each Curse Bolt. So not only does the second Case Bolt still benefit from the 12% damage increased from the Eradication that's already up from the first one, but also the extra spells do, so yeah, it's nice. The only problem I say is actually due to a combination of cast times and travel times, the 6-second duration of Eradication debuff can feel a bit short if you're not in melee range, so it kind of forces you into melee range. The reason for that is that if you're at range, if there's any movement, the travel times simply destroy the chain, I guess you could say, and the Eradication will fall off before the second Curse Ball gets there, so I won't, get the benefits. Yeah, I just think the 6-second duration's a bit too unforgiving when you're at range, and maybe I would just love it if, it was increased to perhaps, 7 or even 8 seconds. Okay, Fire and Brimstone. Yep. The other example of baseline stuff being made into talents. Yay for that. Like I mentioned before, it not only benefits Incinerate, and is actually also passive now, it's not a button to activate. I'm not sure what people think about this change, but I just prefer it to work like a different live, even if it is just a talent. I mean, there just needs to be something else that involves Immolate, in my opinion. Cataclysm can't be our only way to AoE Immolate, even if Fire and Brimstone Incinerate just refreshed the duration on Immolate, already applied, that'd be miles better. You just need something else to it. It's just, yeah, it's a bit weird at the moment. Alright, so Soul Harvest has been changed since my last guide, like Demon Skin. It now works effectively like a mini Dark Soul, which is, pretty cool. It's nice to get a small cooldown if you need to, if you need it. Could be worth it on like fights which need burst damage for priority adds, and it also works just nice little something extra instead of the shitty Doomguard that you get. So there's that option there if you need it. The only thing that I have a problem with is its 10-second duration with a 2 additional seconds per dot. It just feels a bit shit for a 2-minute cooldown spell. I think it maybe could be better if it was 20 seconds duration with 1 second per dot, but I'm not going to focus too much on tier 5, as in my opinion this tier hasn't changed at all. I don't think, in my opinion of it, hasn't changed at all. My opinion is that Dark Pact is too good to make up the, to make the other two even worth thinking about. Not sure what to do about, the Burning Rust situation, but for fuck's sake, swap Portal with Gateway and make it 2 spells again. Such a retarded change. Why is this even still here? Okay. Tier 6. I'm actually okay with this tier. I'll admit they do seem a little out of place in the destruction tree. I prefer maybe something like Grimoire of Shadow, Grimoire of Fire, Grimoire of Chaos or something that work differently, but I mean it's not something that really bothers me. Just something to note about this is Supremacy is actually Servitude now, if you didn't know. Service now gives the summoned pet 100% increased damage, if you didn't know. And Sacrifice is simply AoE talent now, instead of a flat base damage increase. You didn't know. Yeah, so, alright, on to the last tier. So out of Affliction, Demonology and Destruction, I'm definitely the most pleased with Destruction's tier 7 talents. Each of them just seems to bring something a little bit different. Yeah, so Wreak Havoc is epic. So, seriously hat tip to the person who thought of this. It just makes Cleave permanent, and it's insane. Yeah, it's awesome. Soul Conduit, this felt a bit weird for the other specs. But it actually works extremely well for Destro. It's been nerfed because I think it was too good for Destro. But it just makes the shard usage seem, I guess you could say, more forgiving. But I think maybe more impactful, this talent, than the others, because Destro seems to use shards a lot better. But yeah, I love the aspect of Soul Conduit with Destruction, especially with some of the artifact traits, which make it better. But yeah, sometimes you can just spam several Chaos Bolts in a row, which it feels a bit like Charred Remains, but it's awesome, and it's rare. It is rare, but it's awesome when it happens. Channel Demon Fire, it looks visually okay, I guess. It's not massively epic. I think it's just a maybe copy-paste of a Fire Mage spell. Maybe it was a bit more epic, it would look cooler, whatever, but it's a cool additional filler, I guess. If I'm honest, I prefer if it didn't split the damage between enemies, as it kind of pigeonholes Demon Fire into a single target only spell. That's its niche. Whereas increases damage with increased targets, could help spread it. But maybe that's just me. It just feels a bit underwhelming at the moment. But it definitely has. The main downside of this tier is I think it might just become another sim tier. A bit like Demonology with the Demon Bolt and Soul Conduit. This just might be whichever sim's better gets used, and obviously the Wreak Havoc would be better on Cleave, but single target AoE, that's anyone's guess really. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the artifact traits. So let's look at the new ability first. Dimensional Rift, it's called. So how does it work? Well, it's actually like a mini CD, if you like. It's instant. It has been changed from a cast time. It's now instant, so you can cast that move. When you use it, you have a chance to summon one of 3 portals. One will shoot periodic shadow bolts over about 15 seconds, I think. One will shoot a barrage of fell bolts over about 6 seconds, I think. And one launches single chaos bolt. It's an interesting ability. It's okay. The damage from the portals is also buffed from trinket procs and things, so you can save the charges for trinket procs, which is okay, I guess. But because it's instant, like I said, you can also save for movement if you like. People have moaned about its visuals, but I think it looks cool, and it's cool that the portals vary. The different type of portals don't vary to an extent where I think it's an amazing spellbow, which is a bit of a shame. They're all kind of just X damage every Y seconds over Z time, which it's just another DPS button you press really, so that's a bit of a shame. I just wish they varied to the extent where each one maybe had a different impact or different effect after it. They just seem a bit too similar at the moment, and I would love some extra interaction or reaction with them. Other traits. So, Lord of Flames. It's a great little addition and works as a nice CD. Effectively what it does is allow you to use Summon Infernal as your major DPS cooldown, once every 10 minutes, which, is cool. A little funny story about this first though. This was initially tied to Rain of Fire, which is our main AoE, so I mean, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to tie a 10-minute CD to our main AoE? It's totally moronic, but yeah, I'm glad it's changed to Summon Infernal now. Conflagration of Chaos is pretty cool, and it's also the one I was talking about before with the Roaring Blaze. It lasts 20 seconds, so once you proc it lasts 20 seconds, you know, whenever you're using it, conflagrate in 20 seconds it gets the proc. The problem is, yeah, since it's only 20 seconds, conflagrate needs to be less than 10 seconds, so you can use 2 of them before the cooldown wears off. You know, whatever. But that's I was just mentioning it affects that slightly. Yeah, so that's how that works. Dimensional Ripper down here is the one that ties to Incinerate, which I also mentioned before. Interacts okay with the artifact ability, but they actually changed the proc chance recently down to 6% from 15%, which I think it seems a bit unreasonable, to be honest. I mean, maybe it was too good or something, but 6% just seems a bit too low. Also, a nice thing to note, when this actually procs, it does it's like a shade of Iran mode from Karazhan, which activates, and it's pretty epic to hear randomly in fights. That's cool. Okay, last things worth mentioning. Demonic durability here. I'm just going to come out and say this is a fucking well poor 1/1 trait. Considering this is like a 3/3 trait in the Demonology artifact tree, leaving room for 3 unique 1/1 traits. I have no idea this is put as like a 1/1 trait for Destro. You're effectively, you know, taking away the prospects of cool little traits, which is supposed to add something extra to the spec. Yeah, very silly idea. Impish Incineration is another one, which, you know, probably should be a 3/3 trait, as it's just a static percentage damage increase and adds nothing to the spec. Yeah, just please add, you know, give Destruction some interesting artifact traits. Come on. Planeswalker is actually an example of a proper 1/1 trait, but I just don't get why it works at Gateway and not Hellstone. I mean, Gateway should be used for movement and escape, not for a fucking heal. I mean, who thinks of these? No. Anyway, last trait, just worth mentioning, is Soul Snatcher. I mean, this is actually the opposite. This is a 3/3 trait and probably should be a 1/1 trait. It changed up the playstyle slightly because you can actually get a free shard here and there. So this is the one that actually works well as Soul Conduit as well. So yeah, it's pretty nice trait. Alright, so let's just get on to how I think the single target playstyle is going to work. These are the talents that I'm going to choose for pure single target. I actually don't have a proc trinket on this character, but you know, as Destruction has no real damage buff CDs anymore, unless you're talented, which I'm not. The general aim will probably be to try and use Chaos Bolts with trinket procs wherever possible to maximise the damage. You should probably also try to use your Dimensional Rift charges with procs to get the extra damage of those. The only reason you wouldn't do that maybe is if you wanted to save the Rift charges for movement, on heavy movement fights. Also worth noting that, you know, if you're casting several Chaos Bolts in quick succession, you know, maybe you've got 4 or 5 shards with a Conflagrate or something, you want to probably try and weave in other spells in between 2 Chaos Bolts, you know, so they all get the benefits from Eradication. It also helps, you know, maybe get an extra proc of Immolate or something to get an extra shard. So yeah, weaving other spells would definitely yield the greatest DPS with Eradication. It's also probably going to be a good idea to maybe time a Chaos Bolt before every Demon Fire, you know, regardless of trinket procs or anything, just so you can get the extra damage from Demon Fire, because overall at the moment Demon Fire hits about as hard as the Chaos Bolt over about the same amount of time, and it's free, so why wouldn't you do that? Like I said, Soul Harvest, it could be useful for like priority target fights, but with a 2-minute cooldown and, you know, 10-minute duration, plus 4 seconds, whatever, if you've got extra immolates, I just don't think it's going to win out over Eradication for pure DPS over time. Yeah, I've got Service here for the extra CD. Oh, and it's actually worth also noting that I'm using the Imp because it's the best pet for Destruction. Not only has it got that artifact trait, which I mentioned before, but the Imp's Firebolt actually deals 50% extra damage to immolated targets. So it's the pet of choice for destruction. I'm okay with this. I know a lot of people aren't okay with this, which is cool. I understand why that is. I mean, having the choice of other pets, I'd prefer that as well, but I just don't really see it as a big deal for me. But yeah, you have to use the Imp as destruction basically in Legion. That's how it's going to go at the moment. If the Lord of Flame debuff or trait is off cooldown, you should use the Summon Infernal as your main cooldown. But if it's on cooldown, you want to use the Summon Doomguard as your DPS cooldown. Other than that though, I'm just going to do the basic stuff. You want to keep Immolate up permanently. And to get the best results of Backdraft, make sure you don't, spam Conflagrate twice in a row, because the Backdraft doesn't stack. You may want to sit on a charge of Conflag as well, so you're guaranteed to get an extra shard if a trinket procs. So I will do that because you don't have trinket proc. You can also use it for movement as well, I guess. But just need to make sure you take Backdraft duration into consideration. If you think you're going to have to move in the next few seconds, don't cast Conflagrate. Just sit on it till after the movement. As I'm going to do my DPS rotation now, you're going to see my weak hours pop up. I've set a few of them up just on the beta to help keep track of stuff. So yeah, you can just watch me DPS for a minute or so now. So yeah, I'm just going to do that now. So yeah, as you can see, keep your lit up, react to Backdraft and Eradication procs properly, use stuff to cool down, etc, etc. I mean, it's not much change from live, if I'm honest. It's just about getting used to the new rotation and spells. So, alright, so my final comments and opinions. Well, I mean, so far, I love the destruction gameplay. I played Demonology loads when it first came out, but this has been my go-to spec since it came out, because I guess maybe it's because it's a bit familiar to me because it's very live, but it just offers the most diversity or flexibility compared to the other three. It just feels the most rounded. I honestly think this will probably be the spec I choose at launch, because obviously you're going to have to pick one for the artifact for the artifact to begin with. So this is probably going to be the one I'm choosing because it's kind of good in all situations. It's got everything: burst, cleave, AoE, sustainability. I mean, compare that to Affliction, which is boring in my opinion anyway, but it has loads of ramp up time, periods of nothing to do, which can get boring. Demonology is fun to play, don't get me wrong, but it also has ramp up time. It also kind of lacks, a bit of the burst and finisher aspect that Destruction has. And so, yeah, that's just why I'm leaning towards Destruction as, the spec of choice at the moment for Legion. Well, just for the start of Legion anyway. Now that Charged Remains is gone, Soul Shard expenditure, or Ember expenditure as it was previously known, it does feel a lot more important now and iconic, which I like. It's nice for Chaos Bolt to feel important again, rather than just a spam button like it was in WoD. It does need a little bit of damage buff, but I'm hoping they'll get it. Generally speaking though, single target, yeah, it feels very similar to live. It's just more emphasis, I guess you could say, on important spells such as Chaos Bolt and Conflagrate, while still keeping the fast-paced playstyle. If you pick certain talents, which I like. Like the cast time of Chaos Bolt sometimes is a little bit slow if you don't choose those talents. But overall, I think you have fun bursting, and if you don't choose the talents, hopefully the burst aspect will more than make up for those downsides. Cleave and spread prospects for destruction feels probably the most promising change, the most promising aspect. I mean, the changes to Havoc and also the Wreak Havoc talent mean that destruction is going to shine massively on any cleave or two targets fights, probably even 3 to be honest. AoE feels a little, underwhelming, a little strange. It doesn't seem to pack a punch that, AoE Curse Ball or AoE Fire and Brimstone does in live. But maybe this is just a tuning issue and we're going to see some changes to come. Like, I honestly would prefer it if Backdraft, Shadowburn, Fire and Brimstone were just fucking baseline. I don't know why they're fucking putting these type of things on talents, but fucking whatever. I'm a little concerned that decent players and skilled players won't be able to do a lot to distinguish themselves from bad players. I mean, there are little things like the Eradication, the Backdraft, maybe the Havoc usage, but I mean, with a lot of cooldowns, choices being removed, maybe a little bit more of RNG in certain things, it's just there's limitations on what you can do to perfect the playstyle, which we'll see what happens, but I'm just concerned about it. Overall, though, yeah, I'm very happy with Destruction's mechanical and gameplay design, and honestly, I don't really think it's going to change that much. Maybe a few tweaks, hopefully, reduction cooldown of Cataclysm, change to Fire and Brimstone. I think they're the two most important things that need changing at the moment. Also, yeah, Curse Ball damage buff and Rain of Fire maybe possibly damage buff. But apart from that, yeah, it looks like a pretty complete spec. Unfortunately, if you don't like kind of how Destruction is at the moment in Legion, you don't like what I've shown you or whatever, I think you're going to be disappointed with Destruction in Legion because, yeah, I don't think a lot's going to change. But yeah, they've got it. Anyway, yeah, that's my 2 cents for Destruction. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, peace.